Later was the most expensive word in my life. I'm 79 years old now, and if you let an old man give you one hard truth, let it be this. Most of what you are exhausting yourself for is not important. A lot of the people you are trying so hard to impress are not important either. They may be loud, they may be demanding, they may act like the whole world depends on one more phone call, one more favor, one more late night, one more proof that you are dependable. But loud is not the same as important. Urgent is not the same as precious. And being useful is not the same as being loved. What is important is usually quieter than that. It looks like your wife asking if you can sit with her on the porch for 10 minutes. It looks like your son standing in the hallway with a baseball glove. It looks like your daughter waiting to show you a drawing before she decides you must be busy again. It looks like your mother telling the same story for the fourth time because what she really wants is not your opinion, she wants your face in the room. Real importance rarely shouts. It waits. That is why so many of us betray it. I used to think I was a good man because I was dependable. If work needed me, I stayed. If somebody called with a problem, I answered. If a neighbor needed help on my day off, there I was in boots again. Outside my house, I was reliable. Inside my house, I was postponed. That is the word for it, postponed. I did not think I was neglecting my family. I thought I was delaying them for a good reason. After this project, after this quarter, after we were more secure, after the kids were older, after things calmed down, later, later, later. That word followed me through 4 decades like a thief. I remember my daughter on her 9th birthday. Evelyn had made a chocolate cake, and she was sitting there in a paper crown trying to look grown. Right before we lit the candles, the phone rang. It was a work call that could have waited until morning. I stepped onto the porch and told myself it would take 2 minutes. By the time I came back, the first candles had already burned low, and Evelyn had put in a second set. My daughter smiled when I sat down, but it was that careful little smile children wear when they are trying not to make your guilt any heavier. I told myself for years that I had not missed her birthday. I was in the room, wasn't I? But there is a difference between a body in the room and a person who is truly there. My son used to ask me to take him fishing. Nothing fancy, just a folding chair, a tackle box, and a boy who still thought a morning with his father was the best plan in the world. I must have told him next Saturday 20 times. Here is something nobody tells you when you are young. There is a day children stop asking. Nobody announces when the last invitation comes. You just wake up one morning and realize it already happened. That is how families are lost sometimes. Not always through one great betrayal, sometimes through inches. One missed dinner, one distracted answer, one more not now. One more evening giving your best energy to people who would replace you by Monday if you drop dead on Friday. Men hate admitting this part, but I will say it plain. A lot of us do it because being needed out there feels good. Somebody says, "I don't know what we do without you," and it lands right in the hungry place inside you. It makes you feel important. But listen carefully. People can need what you do and still not care much about you. Need is not love. Applause is not love. Reputation is not love. Those things leave the minute your usefulness does. I learned that lesson the hard way when Evelyn landed in the hospital. Bright lights, cold air, machines making small, sharp sounds. I sat by her bed with my coat still on, and my phone was full of numbers I had spent years answering. People who said they depended on me. People who acted like I was essential. Do you know how many of them came? None. The office sent flowers with my name spelled wrong. One man texted 3 days later to ask if I had seen his message. That was when I understood something humiliating. I had spent years treating temporary people like permanent ones and permanent people like they could wait. But my son came. He drove 3 hours after work. My daughter came too. They bought Evelyn her glasses, her sweater, the lotion she liked, the charger she forgot. They knew the small things because they had stayed soft enough to pay attention. Around 2 in the morning, when the room was quiet and the machines were blinking, Evelyn looked at me and said, "You have given too much of yourself to things that could never love you back." She was right. The title could not love me back. The money could not love me back. The extra hours could not love me back. The favors, the handshakes, the people I kept trying to impress, none of it could love me back. But my family could. My family did. And for years, I kept feeding strangers the part of me that should have gone home. Now, maybe you hear this and say, well, I have responsibilities. Of course you do. I did too. I am not telling you to quit your job and stare at the clouds all day. I am telling you to stop lying about what is necessary and what is vanity dressed up as duty. There is a difference between providing for your family and hiding from life inside busyness. There is a difference between earning a living and spending your soul on people who have not earned that access to you. If you want a simple test, ask yourself this. If I got sick tomorrow, who would sit in the hard chair beside my bed? Who would notice the silence if I never came home? Who knows how I take my coffee? Start there. That is your real circle. That is your real life. Sit at the table while the food is still hot. Let the phone ring sometimes. Watch your son do the bad magic trick. Ask your daughter one more question after she says her day was fine. Visit your parents before their stories disappear with them. Walk with your wife even when you are tired, especially when you are tired. The world will take your leftovers if you let it. Do not give your family leftovers and call it love. I can still count the names of people I wore myself out trying to keep happy. Most of them are gone from my life now. Some retired, some moved, some forgot me. A few are dead. That is the thing about chasing unimportant people and unimportant things. They can eat real years and leave almost nothing in your hands. But the evenings I truly gave to my family, I remember those. Soup on the stove. My daughter so hard milk came out her nose. My son asleep in the back seat after a late drive home. Evelyn beside me on the porch with a blanket over her knees, saying nothing at all because nothing at all was needed. Those are the moments that stayed. So if you want one piece of old man wisdom, carry this. Stop giving the best of your life to people and things that cannot love you back. Save your patience for home. Save your attention for home. Save your laughter for home. One day the office will clear your desk. One day the calls will stop. One day the noise outside will prove how temporary it always was. When that day comes, the people at your table will matter more than every handshake you ever chased. If I could live those years again, I would still work hard, but I would come home sooner. I would look up more. I would put the phone down. I would understand earlier that the most important part of my life was never waiting for me somewhere out in the world. It was sitting at my table. Anyway, I've talked enough for one day. If you want to hear more of this old man's little talks, stick around, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.